If you're like most Americans, you've been feeling the crunch of inflation over the last couple years. Now, the economy is very complex with many different variables, but one major component that pretty much everyone seems to agree has most definitely had an impact on the state of inflation is the supply chain. Basically, the chain has been stretched and stressed up to, and in some cases beyond, its breaking point, which means it takes longer and is harder to get some of the goods now than it was just a few short years ago. It also means that it's becoming more expensive, both in general and because of rising inflation. Well, have no fear, the government is here, and they say to ship with it. I'm Joshua Miller, and this is the Recruiting Roundup. Before we go any further, if you happen to be watching us and aren't already a subscriber to our channel, please, could you do me a kindness? Go ahead and click that subscribe button. It really does help us out. And go ahead and click the bell too, so you never miss out on any of our new driver recruiting video content. So, what exactly is Uncle Sam going to do to try and get things moving again? Well, for starters, there's a new piece of legislation that was recently introduced with the goal of the proposed bill being to ease the ongoing supply chain challenges through a number of incentives and tax credits. The Safer Highways and Increased Performance for Interstate Trucking Act, or as they so lovingly call it, the Ship It Act. And I would like to just take a minute here to acknowledge that someone actually sat around trying to come up with the correct word combination to use so that they could actually spell out ship it for their acronym for this new bill dealing with trucking and the supply chain. I ship you not. Our tax dollars hard at work. Anyhow, the Ship It Act would try to lend a hand and restructure the interstate trucking system, which moves just about 75% of the American economy's goods. The official stated goal is, and I quote, to strengthen the workforce and make it easier to move products across the country, end quote. One of the primary ways the legislation would do this is by making it easier to become a truck driver in the first place. This includes opening up the use of grants to help cover tuition and other expenses commonly associated with training or other entry-level driving positions. Beyond that, there are tax incentives. Temporary tax credits ranging from $7,500 all the way up to $10,000 will become available depending on the number of hours driven, tax filing status, all that kind of stuff. Meaning if you're head of household, joint filing, single income, that sort of thing. Or if the driver is new to the industry. It would also seek to remove some of the barriers in the commercial driver license process to make it easier and faster for new drivers to get behind the wheel of the truck and out on the road. There's also some carve-outs to expand parking and rest facilities, and the Ship It Act would modernize the use of waivers during emergencies. All in all, if passed and put into effect, the legislation could help streamline the process of becoming a truck driver, make it easier and cheaper to do so, and open up more parking with more plentiful rest areas across the country. And of course, revise how and when trucks are able to be utilized when emergency situations pop up. Now, the bill was just introduced into the House, so it's no sure thing. But if it were to pass there and in the Senate, these new changes could help fleets close the gap and secure the drivers they need. Nothing is a sure thing in Washington, but the legislation is bipartisan, and there have already been some calls to try and fast-track it through the process. The predicted influx of new drivers could help you, yes you, get any empty trucks you have moving. It's also hoped that the extra parking and rest facilities could alleviate fears or concerns women may have about joining the trucking workforce, thereby expanding the pool of available women drivers even further. Basically, too early to tell, but if Uncle Sam has anything to say about it, the trucking industry could be in for a shakeup, hopefully for the better. If nothing else, it's something to keep an eye on, which you can bet we will be doing. That does it for this edition of the Recruiting Roundup. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to seeing you back here next month when we'll cover another all-new driver recruiting topic. See you next time.